He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the ropes. You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and welcome all inside High and Tight flagship show, part of the IA Baseball Network. As always, appreciate you coming along for the ride here as we get the chance to talk baseball across all levels, high school, college, and the pros, all with an Iowa twist. Glad you could be here. Again, I am Andrew Brown. Thanks for joining in. And as always, like, subscribe, spread the word, share, really catch up on some big articles on Rokfin. We got a lot of good lists coming on up down the pipeline, so make sure to check that out. And even just support what we're doing, because we're all about highlighting the athletes, highlighting these teams, coaches, and umpires. And so it really is a holistic picture that we want to paint, and we'd love your help to do so. And that comes in a variety of ways. If you get the chance during the season to help us out with scores, all that stuff, let us know. We'd love to go ahead and get that up there and, again, highlight all types of videos, all types of images, and all as safe as they are anyway. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got a good show here for you in store. We're going to go ahead and look at your comments on underrated players. These are comments from you guys that you have given us, that we put out there. Hey, who else should we look at? And we took some from each class, and so we're hopefully gonna have a fun time with this. Plus, we'll look into some big teams. We'll spin the wheel. We'll kind of do a lot of different things here as we get rolling and have a fun time. And so, without further ado, I got to bring in the guy, partner in crime, helping me out with this. The one and only Cade Nissen joining us on, again, the hotline here as we get rocking and rolling. And Cade, appreciate you jumping on here. Can't wait to get to it. I mean, I can't wait for the season to start, but here we are.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
Every week it's just closer and closer. I think today's 26 days until first practice, if I got my math right. So, you brought it up. Tons of good stuff coming on Rokfin. Tons of stuff that we haven't even released to the public yet that they don't know about. That is going to be really, really cool. And I'm excited to kind of finalize a bunch of things and really just bring as much coverage to high school baseball this summer as we possibly can, because the game and the program, all the programs and the athletes and the coaches all deserve as much coverage as they can get. So we're going to try and bring that to you guys.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then again, anyways, anybody thoughts, comments, let us know. Give us something if you think we're off base or not. I mean, we're willing to take anything, and that is, that's only from the standpoint of Cade and I put out these lists, and they're really, we try to dig into as much as we can with them. There's, we look at the facts, we look at the numbers. At the end of the day, it's a fun exercise, right? And it's nothing more than to highlight these guys and really kind of get you a glimpse of who are some of the standout guys to look out for. So, again, really fun, and can't wait for this season to get going. But before we go any further here, later on this week, I promise I will be giving out this hat. So we got a hat giveaway coming out later. We'll let you know how to win that, but make sure to stay tuned and all that. Follow us as much as you can, because that helps your chances of winning said cool hat. Anyway, glad to be going on here. Love you rocking the socks. Unfortunately,
I was gonna bring it up, but I was waiting for you, and I figured you would. I wasn't gonna be that guy, but
yeah. Hey, I'm only saying that because Braves taking on Sox. I believe we got a postponement this time around, but
yeah,
I love, is it Crotchet, right? I love
Crochet, yeah,
Crochet, yeah. I loved him in Tennessee. I love him now. He's a bona fide ace, but it's
I got my Sox gear on because all I've got is Iowa stuff from when I worked there. I've got White Sox stuff, and now I'm waiting for the IA stuff. Our IA baseball store opened. For anyone interested who's wanting to kind of rep some IA gear, I mean, it's the perfect logo. A lot of people know what it is. It's just very unified. It just kind of signifies the state of Iowa. It's not, being biased towards anybody. It's just the perfect neutral logo, in my opinion. Great branding that we have. We're lucky to use, and I'm excited to kind of get my hands on some of this new stuff and show you guys. And if you guys are interested, we are selling merch for the next few weeks. I believe our store is open. So if that sounds like something you guys are excited for, go check it out. I'll try and get a video up here in the next week or so of me showing off some of the stuff to kind of entice you guys even more.
Yeah, and if anyone's thinking about it, you can go ahead and copy this link we have up on there. It'll take you right there, or of course, it's up on our social media sites as well. So I can't wait for it. I'm gonna be sporting it wherever I am, whether it's in a school, outside, however it may be the case. I'm gonna sport it all over.
Absolutely.
So with that, let's go ahead and let's get rocking here. First and foremost, I think I'm a big fan of the wheel. Now I may look like the comedy version of Harry Carey right now without the going too far into the voice, but I think I know what a good wheel spin looks like here. And I think it's about time we just get right to it here. And I will say that, Cade, we've gone through every class except 1A. And in fact, the wheel, I think, is biased towards the upper classes because we've had 3A and 4A quite a bit. And I think it's about time we just say, hey, we have a ranking reveal of 1A. We're going to do just 1A. And by the way, you can catch this on our Rokfin website, Rokfin/IA Baseball. You can look up all the teams ranked up there. And not just the teams, but further going on down the road from individual rankings as well as all of our lists and all those good stuff that we even haven't released yet. So that's what you can get from premium content plus highlight reels and more. So a whole lot to check out there. But first and foremost, I think we just got to it's not a ripping the Band-Aid off. It's a good thing. We want to get to this, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. 1A deserves to be covered. We haven't talked about any of those top 16s. The wheel has not chosen 1A. So we're going to kind of bring matters into our own hands and force it this time. So we got to talk some 1A baseball.
That's right. All right. So here we go. We're going to spin this wheel, the good old wheel picker, wheelpicker.com, courtesy of that. Again, 1 through 15. And I realized I didn't put 2 in there. So there's 2. We got 2 in there. Well, I had to edit this because we kept getting 2 a lot. Anyway.
Yeah.
So here goes the spin wheel. Oh, sound effects are on point here today. Here we go. And we have 14. 14 is our number. That's the team. Kate, who is our number 14th ranked team that the 1A scene has to offer?
Yeah, preseason number 14 in Class 1A is the Gladbrook Rhinebeck Rebels.
Ooh, I love this team. Now, I will say they do lose out on quite a bit. Ultimately, though, what they get back. I mean, this is a team that how could you not have loved from last year? Top 15 in total bases, and of course on walks as well. So they're a patient team when all is said and done. Ultimately their average wasn't up there where we all, I think, expected it to be. But ultimately, this is a program that was just fun to watch. Had a lot of good guys on this squad here, and there's not a whole lot that when you dive into. I mean, the Iowa Cedar West Division is very, very tough as it is, and so certainly Grundy Center was kind of the one to take the cake, or I guess tie at conference. I mean, they both were 10-2, so ultimately, but you look at it, Gladbrook Rhinebeck was one of the only teams to have hit 25 wins. In fact, I think they're one of the only teams to go over the 30-game threshold in that West Division standings mark. So they put a lot of mileage in. They got a lot of good things there, and it was really fun. Again, I love the Rebels. I'm just going to say that right now. I love the mascot. I love everything about it. I do like guys like Drew Ellers coming on back here, 46 total bases from last year. But the thing is, the one thing, Kate, that I look at is go, okay, I mean, you're looking at your top five guys, top five hitters in that lineup that have graduated. So the big key
Yeah.
here is, are you going? That's why I think they're 15. You know, our ranker has been very good with this, but
Yeah.
I think they have depth. There's a lot of sophomore, a lot of junior talent, but you're going to have to kind of come up with all that experience on the fly. But they have the talent to do it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think this is a good spot for them. They were good last year. They proved that they belonged with the best, and this year, I mean, let's be honest. It's going to be a new team. It's going to take a lot of new guys that we maybe don't even know right now. You know, Isaac Clark's going to take up a step up into an elevated role. He was a stud in football, so I know he's a great athlete, and he's going to really step up and make a bigger impact. But it's a team that's improved their win total the last 4 years. They went from 9 to 10 to 20 and then 25. So looking at the bound, recent history, that's the most wins they've had in a season, Andrew, since
Yeah.
2008. So last year's team for Gladbrook Rhinebeck, it was a historic team. I mean, they've only hit 20 wins in the last 10 years, maybe 4 or 5 times. So a really, really good team last year. They say goodbye to a lot of seniors, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of new guys stepping up, but that's what makes it fun. I think 15 is a great spot for them. Like you said, Drew Ellers gonna step up into an elevated role. Other arms, you got like Austin Mathern and Austin Gehring. So those guys are gonna look to step up. They return some guys with some innings experience, which I like. But the bats, I mean, the lineup, you're graduating over half your guys. So there's no doubt it's going to be a new look over in Gladbrook Rhinebeck.
Yeah, and again, this is a team that still ended up with the schedule that they have. You know, going against Don Bosco's of the world, they still ended up coming out with a run differential over 2, which means that yes, I mean ultimately you get 25 wins. You're going to have that. It's going to be there. I think that this team has more than capability of getting to that next level. You know, but again, we've seen this quite a bit where teams, you know, have great senior years, and we see this all the time. And then it comes the next year, it's like, man, okay, now how do you adjust? Because you get into 1A, and I feel it's a little different from the 3A, 4A scenes because, you know, you get a lot of these guys who come up and then they take those innings. They take that time. And, I mean, ultimately, that I like this team. I like the coaching staff, and I think you mentioned hit it. They're on the right trajectory. They're headed in the right path. William Cabrus and company really helped, I think, spearhead that class and that group. And so there's not much that you can't love from this team. And so, I mean, ultimately, I think top 20 schedule in Class 2A or Class 1A, excuse me. But yeah, this was a pretty good squad this year. So yeah, that's our number 14th ranked team in Class 1A, the Rebels.
Tell you what, Andrew, Gladbrook Rhinebeck, they fell in the postseason to GMG. What a story that was. Do you
Yeah,
remember when that was unfolding? GMG was 5-6 games below 500 entering the postseason, and they went on a run. I mean, they won 3 games and were 1 short. They fell to Lisbon in that sub-state final.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a heck of a run. I know Gladbrook Rhinebeck fans won't like hearing that all over again, but I mean, that was just an incredible story. I remember at the time we had GMG and BGM in that bracket final, 2 below 500 teams, and I mean, we talk about it every week. We feel like it's why you go play the game. So I mean, when I think of Gladbrook Rhinebeck, you can't help but bring up what a run GMG had in that postseason.
Yeah, again, we love the Cinderellas, but of course we love all teams, right? And we love it. Very, very, very cool. Again, it was a heck of a run by GMG, like we mentioned. But yeah, again, Gladbrook Rhinebeck, number 14 on the list here coming in, and they're going to be hot. As we continue on, again, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget here, we've got some giveaways that we'll continue to do. So a hat giveaway here for you. Plus, we've got some big news down the pipeline that I'll go ahead and release right now anyway. We'll get the chance to catch up in relation to the Strike Out the Stigma event. we've been able to get the chance and to be able to connect with the one and only Ben Zobrist, formerly Cub, Major League Vets. He has a great foundation that we're going to be talking about here coming on up in the next few weeks. We're going to be really diving into everything that he has gone through with that organization, the lessons that he has, and to pay it forward. So that's a really fun conversation coming down the line. Can't wait for that to happen. And so again, we'll have that. You can catch it on Rokfin, and then you can catch it later on elsewhere. But really, really urge you to check us out and get that subscription through Rokfin so you can catch it sooner. But all right, so as we rock and roll on, again, make sure to give us a thought, likes, shout out, comments. Again, we recently had our Class 4A top returning pitching staffs. We'll have hitting offense. We'll have the top exciting offenses coming on up here for each class as well. And, of course, not only from the top freshman phenoms that we already put out, but from sophomores to juniors and seniors. And I'm just excited. It's that time of year that's kind of like, Cade, this is the time where we can really sit there and do stuff that we can't really do during the season, and which is kind of highlight all classes really.
Yeah, I mean, if you're kind of on the fence, I feel like a lot of people are kind of on the fence with the Rokfin thing. They're like, is it worth it? If you're wanting kind of a general schedule, Andrew, I mean, we're kind of on the same page here. I mean, we've already released the freshman list. We've got sophomores that we're working on right now. I've got the list basically finalized. I'm just running through and doing the stats and kind of ranking them. Then we're gonna have juniors. We're thinking 200-ish names. Like we're gonna be listing a ton of names. Seniors, same thing. We've got conference predictions that we're still dropping. We're going to have preseason all IA baseball teams. That's an individual ranking. So, whoever is preseason first team. So we've got that still coming, and that's just all preseason content. So there's no doubt that this season we're much more prepared with this Rokfin thing. Last year was our first year with that, Andrew. So we're excited to bring as much content to that Rokfin to our subscribers as possible. And I know a lot of people are on the fence about it and don't know if it's worth it, but we can promise you that this year we're going to be dropping a ton of content on there, and it's going to be exclusive to you guys, or you're going to be seeing it first before the public, which I think is very cool. And we're going to give our subscribers the extra treatment every single time. They're going to get everything first, and it'll be well worth it. So we're excited for that, and we're glad that we have the resources to be able to kind of go all in on baseball this year, which I'm pumped for. You're pumped for. I know Tony's excited for us, and we're just gonna kill it. So let's get the season going already. Dang, I'm sick of these preseason graphics.
I'm ready. I've got so many things there's so many things that you just can't say yet. But we can't to give that to you guys because it's gonna be fun. A lot of things coming on, but a lot down the road. Not just that, all that stuff, but of course our coverage of the Strike Out the Stigma event coming on up. That really the unofficial kickoff to this season will be there, and it's been an expanded mode, so more teams, just a whole lot of fun, and Ben Zobrist. I mean, that's what's not to like about that. Anyway, but again, really blessed that we have Bound, that we have Tony, that we have all the guys here. That Cade, yourself, and all the guys who are here, all of our rankers. So again, we're putting as much stock into the seasons going forward as we possibly can. But
absolutely.
As for right now, speaking of stock, we asked you, everybody out there, who's some underrated guys who have flown under the radar, been low flying fruit that we just haven't picked yet. And for whatever reason, for whatever the case may be, we wanted to get your thoughts. And you have given us some feedback, whether it be through personal message, through email, through social media. Really appreciate all that feedback because, Kate, I think our listeners are the best. Our viewers are top notch, and they just know what's what. And so it's really kind of cool to see that. And so we're going to dive now into, and we'll pick at least 1 to 2 for each class that are underrated from your comments. So this isn't just strictly from us. this is coming from you guys as well. So big kudos to that. And so Cade, I've been really drumming this. I've been thinking about this, and our streak of being on the same page, this really puts that to the test. And
Mhm.
I don't know if we're going to be quite on page with a lot of it, but I think we can give it a try.
Hey, I hope we're not, because that means we're
Yeah,
giving more kids coverage. So I really hope we don't have the
that's
same
true.
guys nailed down for each class. Otherwise, because there's just so many guys that fly under the radar.
Yeah,
Our viewers do a great job of engaging with us. I'll say that. I
yeah,
drop a post where it's like, drop a comment and tag your whoever, or what do you think about this? Man, they're engaging with us. They're
yeah,
commenting. We love to see that. It's great. I read them all. I might not respond or like them all, but I'm reading them all. I went through every single guy that was tagged in that Instagram post of who's not getting enough love. I went through, I scanned it. There's a lot of bat boys and a lot of stat sheet guys tagged, which, hey, they're undervalued too. You need
yeah.
those types of guys in your program. So that was kind of fun. You guys always have fun with our posts, and that's what we love. But Andrew, well, let's start with 1A again. Who do you got? Who's your undervalued guy in class 1A?
All right. Well, man, this was really, really tough. And I think there's a couple, there's one that reached out via email, and
Okay.
this was something that I didn't really think about putting him on as underrated, but the Wyatt Throckmorton from Morovia is a guy that has a really sweet swing, and I think it's more so from the conversation of the entire state, right? I think Wyatt has obviously within Morovia, within that ranks, within the conference, he's well known. But I do think that it's really worth taking a look at a guy that has been consistent, and he kind of rocks it, man. I've been able to see a couple videos of him, and I've had some conversation with guys who have been former scouts, been former collegiate umpires, and I remember having a conversation going, this he has good swing, and when you get compliments like that, unasked for,
Yeah.
unfiltered, then I think it means a whole lot. So ultimately, I know that isn't a really stat based answer here for you, but I think I've gotten so much conversation on Wyatt and other guys like Liam Schrock at a Hillcrest, but Wyatt Throckmorton I've had a number of conversations about, and I really want to see him in person now.
Yeah, that's a great one, and that's exactly what this segment is for, is giving those types of guys some love. And I got one too. Mine's more kind of stat based. His stats are just incredible, and maybe we just don't talk about him. From Lake Mills, they were 14-10 last year, just a 5-4 record on the mound. But Eli Menke,
Ooh,
he's a stud, and I mean he's a part of the 100 strikeout club, and that's a rarity in Iowa high school baseball. Just probably someone we just haven't covered a ton, and that's on us at the end of the day. But 5-4, 58 innings. I mean, he only allowed 14 earned runs, 105 strikeouts, as I said. Only walked 17 guys. That's an incredible stat. 1.69 ERA and a WHIP below 1. He also brings it from the box. He hits 329, slugged 384, drove in 21 for this team. I mean, he's a huge part for Lake Mills' success. Again, they were 14-10 last year, really scrappy team. And I'm excited for Eli in his senior year. I mean, his numbers are literally going to be video game like. I don't even know if I could put up those numbers in a video game if I tried. So Eli Menke, he is my class 1A guy who doesn't get enough love.
yeah, again, making the 105 Ks. That was really, really fun. And the thing is, he rests as one of three returners who supported 20 or more strikeouts across that campaign. So ultimately, he could have a chance to dominate that conference. And we'll have our top of Iowa conference preview coming on out here. The chance to look at that, and Lake Mills. Gosh,
Yeah,
I
that's a team. That's a team, Andrew, who's going to be right around that probably 500-ish, 5-6 games above 500.
yep.
You draw them in the postseason first round. Ooh, that's a one
Yeah.
seed you're playing in the first round when Eli Menke's throwing. That's that's a tough draw, and that's the thing that makes Iowa high school great is there's those 500 teams that have that one guy who go out there and just give you a shot. And so Lake Mills, they're not a team I'd want to draw in the first round
Oh,
this coming season.
not at all. I'd be very okay trying to weasel my way out of that battle. That is a very, very fun team. All right, let's head on to Class 2A here if we can. So, Cade, drop us at your 2A here. I know that there are a lot of great comments coming out of
Yeah.
2A. And again, kudos to everybody giving their thoughts on who we should be talking about.
Yeah, I grabbed a guy I actually have some firsthand experience with, Jack Clark of Regina Catholic.
Okay.
I just really liked watching him play.
Yeah.
I actually freelanced for Regina when I was in college at the University of Iowa. It was a great program. They loved having me over to film some sports and do some work for them. And when I was there for the summer covering baseball, I was just really impressed with Jack Clark. And that was 2 years ago. He was starting for them. And last year, his junior year, he hit 304. He's the returning total base leader for this team coming back. So he's going to be a big leader. Slugged 478, got on base almost half the time. And behind the plate, I mean, he is really, really solid. Threw out 7 guys in 40 attempts, which is a really, really good number. Fielding percentage above 98%. And just he's just the type of guy that you need in your program. Like I said, a great leader. He's going to keep that team up all year. And Regina, they were really competitive, 15-19 overall, 11-7 in their conference. They play up a ton. So I'm expecting Regina to be competitive, and a big reason for that is Jack Clark behind the plate.
And I love it when you really dive into it, what this program, what the program has done. And you mentioned obviously a lot of good things that are coming out of this. And so, again, really, really fun to watch that. I could not disagree with you on that one. It certainly is really, really fun to watch. As we continue on, again, everybody, thoughts, let us know on this. Did we miss somebody? Sometimes we may not get all of them or see all of them. That we do. We really looked at this list and every comment. So if you're
that one was from a comment, Andrew.
Yeah,
that one was straight from somebody who said it. I'm like, wow, that's a good name right there.
And that's what we want.
Worked.
Yeah, and that's what we want. So that's what this segment is all about here. And so again, very, very fun to do this. For me, I went and the 2A scene, man, it was kind of tough. A couple guys that I looked at and just trying to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row when it comes to this. But correct me if I'm wrong. We have ClarionGoldfield Downs in 2A, correct? If I'm not mistaken. And looking at what this program has done, from there, I got a guy that I saw on a fun stage. I got the chance to broadcast the high school Field of Dreams game between ClarionGoldfield Downs and Fort Dodge St. Edmunds. And the guy who pitched in that was Carson Nieschheim, who, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name, but this is a guy that I got a personal message about that said, hey, I would just put him into the mix. And when I got that, I went, that makes sense. It's a guy that on that team, I know Nevin Foss was kind of the highlight of that team from last year. But Carson was a guy that I felt had a lot of good strengths. He had a lot of good things going pitching wise. That's kind of where his biggest highlight was, 73K on the mound. Teams hitting just around 230 against him. And ultimately, the batting average that he has given up on balls in play, less than that, which is kind of a hard thing to imagine in that kind of statistical world. But it just goes to show a lot of what he put on the ground, or what lot that was hit off of him, was truly an earned hit. He didn't give up any easy hits. He didn't give up anything, in fact. So Carson is my guy out of ClarionGoldfield Downs. I think the Cowboys have a lot going for them. New field. We saw at the end of last year how they really put together, a lot of good close games. They still got a little bit of a ways to go here ultimately, but this is a team that has a lot of potential to get a lot of wins here this year. and we'll see how it ends up panning out for them. But yeah, Carson Nieschheim is my guy in 2A.
That's a good one. Heading to 3A though, Andrew. This is the one we both know a ton about. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say you probably have. I'm gonna say you have 2 honorable mentions at least ready for this class, ready to roll.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? To my credit here, I'll give you this. I went and I decided, hey, I'm only going to look at one guy. You know, when we said,
There
hey,
you go.
let's try and do this, I tried and only
Yeah.
looked at one guy, and I did that mainly because I looked at a lot of different comments, and one of those that I saw, I went, I don't know if he's underrated, but I saw Ballard's Eli Rouse as a
Yeah.
comment about being underrated. Now,
Yeah.
this is not a negate here. I would push back on a little bit on that. He was really good. I don't
Yeah.
know if he just was. If I think overall the Ballard team was a little bit underrated. I'll give you that. I think the team overall didn't get as much attention. But ultimately, Eli, 57 total bases, and he walked nearly 20 times. So you get the guys who have near 60 total bases and near 20 walks. You're an elite company. 14 extra base hits, and the thing is, the guy can do wonders on the base pass. 24 out of 29 stolen bases, and ultimately half the time, literally over half the time, he got up to the plate, he got on base. That's the guy you want. In this case, in this context, I took it again with all of these. I took it squarely from the comments that we've been given, and he is the guy that was on there. And I go, okay, he's my guy then, because if he's underrated, he's, I think, the least underrated.
I'll take some blame for that, Andrew, because I put him as the picture of on that graphic, and I think it was just because I think we must have some Ballard fans that consistently watch our stuff, which is great because they're always commenting, give Eli some love, give Eli some love. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe we are not giving him enough love. So I put him as the picture. I thought he was just kind of the perfect guy to encapsulate that. But no, at this point, he's not underrated anymore. This day going forward, Eli's not underrated. He's a stud, and I'm excited to watch him.
He's graduating off of that mark for sure. So
Yep.
yeah, he's the guy that we're gonna have there. Yeah. So anyway, on to you here, man. I know that among all the names, this was kind of a hard list to kind of pop out because there were some good names on there.
Yeah, I'm sticking in the same conference, and it was a comment we got, but it was actually a comment we got a little while back when I posted the graphic of Cook and Rocky from North Polk. I got a comment from Coach Book. I believe it was from Coach Book himself. He said, keep an eye on the 2 guys from ADM. And we got to come up with a nickname for them somehow because they're both Grant, Rokfin and Jansen, respectively. One's 1 year older than the other, but man, these guys are some studs, and they're going to lead the way for ADM this year on the mound. Both of them had 5 wins. Both are bringing back 37 innings. Opponents at 192 off Rokfin, 182 off Jansen, 51 Ks and 67 Ks respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Both ERAs below 2, both whips at or below 1. That's going to be a 2-headed monster over there in Adele. And Coach Book brought up a good point that those two need some love because that Raccoon River, I mean, we talk about it every single year. It's just a gauntlet day in and day out, and the 2 Grants wearing the black and red aren't gonna help that at all.
Yeah, and considering the fact that I believe at least over the last 7 years, we've had a Raccoon River Conference representative in the state tournament, says a lot. And that certainly, and going through the numbers there, they had some of the top FIPS in the country, that field independent pitching, that in the conference, they had some of the top. Excuse me. Not the top. Obviously, we've had some big names in there. What we won't give it.
Yeah.
We will give love to some North Polk Water Tower comments there, but it ultimately, yes, they're in the top echelon of the conference in terms of FIP. And again, I will say this: any other coach, reach out to IA Baseball. Again, I saw the comments there from Coach Book, and he is such a fantastic person as well as coach. I every time I get the chance to meet him, we have a long conversation, and So I loved it I love it when I saw his comment on IA baseball, and it means a lot because a guy like that who's very well known for his ability to develop guys into absolute stellar studs is amazing. Because let's be honest here. Let's look at this. I believe it was 2015, 2016. I know that's going back a little bit, but that was a point in time at which AD
Yeah.
had 3 wins, and it was just really long, tough season. And since then, what has he done? He has produced what 3, 4 state tournament appearances. He has had some big seasons. Got a #1 seed in the postseason, and so ultimately, that's a guy that you want leading the program. So yeah, kudos. So thank you, Coach Book, for reaching out to the IA baseball account. We really appreciate that. And again, like Cade and I are echoing, all coaches do that. We love it.
Yeah, most wins in a season last year for ADM since the summer of 2013.
Yeah.
So, decade,
Although I will
pretty
say,
solid.
I joked with Coach Book on this a little bit, and it's like hey, I I remember talking to him, and I feel guilt. I think it was at the coaches clinic, but I remember saying, hey, you know what? Are you going to fly under the radar this year? Because that's your state tournament recipe, right? 2 straight seasons of under 500 making the state tournament, and he kind of laughed, but yeah, this is again. This is tough. This is going to be a really tough conference. I can't wait. So. Anyway, with that, again, we were in our Class 3A scene. And again, more notes, more comments. If you're just catching us now, let us know any more. We'd love to talk about that as well. So, are you ready to move on to 4A here, Kate?
I am. This one I've got a few. So I'll go first. I'll
Yep.
let you go, and then I'll go for the second time because we got a ton of guys in Class 4A that people commented, and I want to touch on as many as possible. My first one, I might butcher the name, Dominic Salabi from Iowa City High. I'm sorry
Salibi.
if I'm saying
Yeah,
that
Salibi.
incorrectly. Sleepy. There you go. Now I know. As a sophomore last year, 43 hits, 34 RBI, 12 doubles, 4 triples, 3 homers, slug 706, which was second in Class 4A in his class as a sophomore. Again, as an underclassman, supplying a ton of run production for that Iowa City High team that was very lethal. High hopes for City High again this year, and he's a big reason why.
Yeah, and again, what more can you love about the guy? I mean, truly, that's fun. Watching that is fun. I don't care if it's rain or if it's snow. They're not going to like it, but we are because we're going to see the best out of it. I can't again love it. Obviously, that's a great pick there, Kate.
Yeah, that was a good comment. I was scrolling through it. I recognized the name as soon as someone commented. I don't know. I don't remember the name of who dropped his tag, but as soon as I saw that tag, I'm like, yeah, that's a perfect example of what this segment's all about.
Yeah, and that's what you again. What our purpose is, what we're doing here. It
Yeah.
makes it fun. Absolutely love that. So again, you had some others. Do you want me to go first and kind of bounce back and forth here?
I'll go again. I might as well. So we got a ton of comments on Twitter for a
Yep.
Jaguar from Centennial. I hope I didn't steal yours here by any means, but Emerson, did I?
Yeah, you did, but that's okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
you go. You go. You go. You
No,
go.
no.
You go.
Alberhosky, if I'm saying
Yeah.
that right, Emerson Alberhosky, Centennial. He's a guy that you looked at there, and you had guys that were just kind of big names. Obviously the
Yeah.
Okies of the world were there, but Emerson, this is a guy that he will be the guy coming back with the most hits. He'll be the guy
Yep.
coming back with his batting average balls in play near 390. So anytime he hits the ball, it's basically gold. You can count on it. 8 extra base hits here, and he was 12 out of 13 on the base path. So what can and the thing about this guy is holistic because 35 strikeouts on the mound and just 8 walks allowed. How can you
Mhm.
sit there and say, man, I have 35K and just 8 walks in the CIML when you got guys like back then, like Tyne Whedon, or any Johnston guy, really, and you got Ankeny, not that, and just other guys, and out of conference you played. I just don't see how you can, when you look at Emerson, how you cannot be amazed. And I think the only reason why he is put as a underrated guy is just simply because of the guys that were ahead of him, right? Severson and
Yeah.
company. Those guys were just those were big names, and he was kind of down the list. But I guarantee you, Cade, he is not down the list when it comes to this 2024 season.
No, not anymore. And he's I had Ankeny Centennial as my number 2 preseason pitching staff. They
Right?
could easily be number 1. Them and DCG were a complete toss up. I mean, Oki, Alberhaski, Glatt, and Stewart, they're returning some studs on the hill, and Alberhaski is a big reason that staff's going to be well equipped for a gauntlet of a CIML. But I agree, Alberhaski. I mean, he's a guy I've known. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know his name. It's just there's been that team was just loaded last year. Churchman, like you said, the team was
Yeah.
just so fun to watch. So he kind of just fell between the cracks, but not anymore. I mean, he's one of the guys this year and one of the go-to names in Emerson Alberhaski. I'm sad I stole it. Did you have anything else? Because those are the 2 I had.
No, I will. I have some more here for you too. I
Okay,
want to
go ahead.
say, I think shout out to, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but Preston Glatt, I believe he is the very tall pitcher that we saw from Ankeny Centennial. If I'm not mistaken, I got to see him at the Tim Hagen Classic in Ankeny, and I went, oh geez, like you got some serious firepower coming out of that height. I love it. So anyway, from a guy that I want to go to now is a guy that I really liked, and I'll just say liked because I don't think he got as much attention as we probably really should have given him, really everybody. And I'm sorry if I pronounced this wrong here, but I'm going to go with Wrigley Mathis,
Mhm.
Matthys, out of Bettendorf. Now, this guy is now a junior, but take a look at his sophomore numbers. He was second among all sophomores with a 487 average, and he led all sophomores with 86 total bases. And obviously the top 4A sophomore with a on base mark of 556 or 565, excuse me. And so this is a guy that just flat out raked. And again, I don't know if it's just because the conference in which Bettendorf resides in, it's really tough. But this is a guy that you look at those numbers, and I think you go by some big names like Nick Severson, as we talked about, Sam Harris from last year, Tucker Long, and you go, oh, wait, number 2 on total batting average is Wrigley Mathis, the sophomore, 487, right? 24 RBIs and 86 total bases. This guy was a big spark in that lineup, and not just that, really good fielding ability. He's a guy that I really want. I think everybody really should pay more attention to. But I'm very glad that, and I forget the name of who put that comment out there, but really glad you brought that to our attention because 4A last year had a lot of big guys, D1 guys, like we said, Harris, Blake, all that going down the line, Addison Benny out of Clinton, Campatelli, Cade Knox. So that list goes on, and so a lot of good senior and not just upperclassmen talent that we sat there and go, oh, some people may not have noticed Wrigley at number 2 in overall batting average. So take that for what you will, but this guy should not be overlooked. If you're going up against him in Bettendorf, I would not overlook that.
Yeah, he's one of those guys when I'm doing these preseason stat graphics where he's in the top 8 of everything. It feels like I'm
Every
typing his name so much in these graphics. I mean, you score 53 runs, you're doing something right. I mean, you didn't even talk about his stolen base ability. 33 stolen bags. He only got caught one time. Yeah, he's electric. I actually worked with his brother on Iowa football, and I heard his younger brother was a stud in baseball, and he never told me. I'm figuring this out on my own. I'm like, holy cow, as a stud. I'm gonna have to go to Bettendorf and check that team out this year. They've got some high hopes too. So
yeah,
again, Wrigley's gonna be a big part of that. I say that as a White Sox fan too. It's a cool name, Wrigley Mathis. That just
I know.
works. That's just a
Why?
baseball name.
Yeah, if there ever was, I mean, again, I don't know the true lineage of what their family is like, but I mean, hopefully out there, if mom and dad are listening, let us know. Did that come from a baseball
It's got to.
background?
It's
Because that
got to.
is, I think one thing I would love to do if we get the chance is rate some of the best baseball names.
I
And
was just gonna say we need a preseason or we need an all name team. Just no
yes,
stats involved. No stats involved. Just based on your name, who's got the
just
best names in Iowa?
yeah. Let's do it,
He'd be
everybody.
up there.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay. I'll add it to my notes. He's up there. He's up there. He's first team.
Oh,
First team
perfect.
all name team.
Yeah. Gosh. So hey, again, kudos to whoever did that. Put that out there. That's why we love the comments. Love the comments. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But
Yeah, that's perfect.
with that, Cade, again, a lot to like. Really coming down the pipeline, still a lot more. And again, kudos that if nobody got the chance, we did recently share the top 10 4A pitching staffs, which again, based on returners, excitement level in there. Obviously, it's not a set in stone what you're going to see, but this is a good look at what some of the top pitching staffs in 4A are. So check it out. We got offense coming on up later this week, and I think that there's a lot of fun coming down the pipeline on Rokfin. So make sure to check it out.